Hello friends and welcome to Techi. In our previous video we have configured client access services where we configured the URL for our Exchange server. We configured the OWA, Auto Discover, Outlook Anywhere, Active Sync and Map over HTTP. So now in this video we are going to configure about the DNS setting for our external domain for our Exchange server. So before proceeding the configuration, let's see this diagram. So we have a techijack.com as a DC there, and the Exchange server is attached with this domain, and the domain IP is 192.168.2.4 and the IP address for our Exchange server is 192.168.2.12. So we have created a host A record in our internal DNS, that is mymail.techijack.com. So if the user inside the local user, if they want to send email or they want to open this on a web URL, like they want to use a Outlook web access, they can open and they can send email. That means that the internal email will be working fine because they can send email to each other. All the mailbox will receive the email inside the organization. Even if we have a send connector installed, if we configure our send connector to our Exchange server, they can send email to the outside domain like Gmail, Yahoo, MSN or xyz.com. How it can happen, like if our Exchange server knows and can resolve the query for Gmail, Yahoo, MSN and xyz.com, that means our DNS server can resolve the query for the external domain, so that if we configure the send connector on this Exchange server, we will be able to send the email to the outsider domain, because over the internet they are connected with the router and they are all the DNS name are routable on the internet. So our Exchange server can route email to the external domain name. But what if any user sitting on the internet wants to send email to techijack.com, like any user like jack@techijack.com, he cannot send the email right now. Why? Because this host A record, that mymail.techijack.com, is a local record. Like we have this record inside our local domain. This is not on our public domain. So what we have to do, if they send this mail, they will not find this address on a local. So what we have to do is we have to create a MS record for our external DNS domain, so that if anyone send email to techijack.com, they can be routed and they can come to our Exchange server, so that it can be, the query can be resolved for mymail.techijack.com and they can find our server, so that our server can receive that email. One more thing to notice is that I have a public IP and the public IP is configured on my router, and what I will do, I will map the MX record and will point to my public IP. But how the Exchange server will receive that query, like when the public IP is installed on my router? So what we have to do is we have to forward the ports for, like HTTPS port will be forwarded to Exchange server, because it is highly recommended, like you do not put the public IP on your Exchange server there, because you need a firewall, you need a edge server. But in our case we don't have a edge server or neither a firewall. So the public IP is on my router, and all the ports will be forwarded to the Exchange server, like HTTPS, POP, IMAP. All the required port for the Exchange server will be forwarded to the Exchange server, and the DNS port will be forwarded to the DC, like on this IP, and other will be forwarded on this IP. So if you don't know how to do a port forwarding, you can look on the playlist of Techijack and you will find how to forward the port on a router. That's not a big deal. So let's see and configure our send connector first, and we'll try to send an email to the outsider. So, and let's see if we receive that email to the outside domain or not. So let's see how to configure the send connector. So right now we are on a Exchange Admin Center, and let's configure our send connector. So in order to configure the send connector, we have to go to the mail flow, and you can see the receive connector, send connector. So don't need to do anything with the receive connector. We will go to the send connector, and here you can see it is empty right now. That means we can send a local email to each other, but we cannot send any email to the outside from techijack.com. That means we cannot send email to a gmail.com, yahoo.com, or any other domain. So in order to do that, we have to configure the send connector. We will click on plus sign, and we will select that internet, for example, to send internet email. So we will select that, and I'll give the name as email to internet, and we'll click on next. And right now we are not routing our email to the smart host, because we will do with the MX record. So we will click on next here and add the SMTP address. We will not edit this thing. We will just put the star on a fully qualified domain name and click on save, and then click on next, and we will put the server name is our exchange. We will add this. We'll click on OK and finish. So now our send connector is configured, and if you see the property like emails to the internet, connection status is enabled. So let's click on save. So now let's see and test a email by sending an email to external domain, and let's see if it goes through or not. So let's try to open an administrator mailbox and try to send an email. It's mymail.techijack.com OWA. So we are inside the mailbox of administrator, and I will try to send a mail to the outsider domain, the any domain. So let me take info. Okay, this one is fine. This is a info at it's a digital marketing company, so info at digitalppc.marketing. So let me try to send test email to outside and say hi, and we'll try to send the email. So it's not in a draft, it is now in a sent items. You can see it's in a sent item. So the mail has been sent from our side, and let's see if we have received the email on the other side or not. So I have opened the web mail for that address, and if I see and click on refresh, you can see the test email to outside. This was the email we have sent, and it was from administrator. You can see the administrator at techijack.com was the email address from where we have sent that email. So our outside email, like we can send email to the outsider domain now, but let's see if I do a reply to this email, if we get the reply, because right now we don't have any MX record configured. So let's see if we can receive that email or not. I'll click on send, and see, you can see the mail delivery failed, returning message to sender. So there is an error, like the email is not found because we don't have any MX record configured right now. So we are going to configure MX record now. So guys, in order to configure your MX record, you have to log into the DNS manager, like from where you have purchased the domain or the third-party company who is managing your DNS server. You have to log into that portal. So in my case, that is a ResellerClub, and I'm logged in as with my credential, and you can see the zone record for techicheck.com, and here you can see all CNAME, MX record, SRV and text record. If I create add new, and here you can select the MX record, and if you have a GoDaddy domain name service, and GoDaddy is holding your DNS settings, so you can type here @ and you can type the fully qualified name, like I want to put it mymail.techicheck.com, and here the priority, like if you put the 0, that means the 0 is the highest priority, and if you put the 1, 2, 3, that means it is according to an integer, like if the 0 will be higher priority and 1 will be the lower priority and 2 will be the lowest priority. So you can put the 0 here and you can click the add record. I'm not adding this record because if you see here in an MX record, I have already created this record with the priority 0, and that is mymail.techicheck.com, and the same record is also created inside our local DNS server. So, and this mymail.techicheck.com will point to a host A record. That will be a host A record, that if you see the host A record here, you can see the mymail.techicheck.com is pointing to my public IP. That means anyone who is trying to open this address on the internet will be sent to this IP, and this IP, the HTTPS port, is now forwarded to my Exchange virtual directory, so they will receive the page for the Exchange, and we will try to open it from outside. So whenever you put the host A record or MX record, at the time it takes some time to propagate, like it can take some time, like if you have a TTL value of like 3600, that means it will take like you have to divide it by 60. It's in a seconds, so it will take some time, so you have to wait for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hours to propagate this. And also we have created the text record here for Spf record, and you can see if I go and edit this, you can see the V equal to SPF1A MX. I'll show you how you can create the MX the Spf record, and also I have created a dmarc record as well. So these three records, MX record, Spf record and dmarc record, is required whenever you are going to deal with the Exchange. So these three records are now fine, and let's see now test these records. So I'll cancel this, and let's go to the MX Toolbox, and this is a tool where we can check our DNS setting, our MX records. So I'll check it for techicheck.com, and let's go with the MX lookup, and you can see the MX lookup has find this address like mymail.techicheck.com. That means on the internet, because in our local organization anyone can open this, and the page is served to them, but not from the internet. Now it will be open from internet. The MX record has been published now, and you can see the IP address is here. For some security reason I'm not revealing the IP, but you can see dmarc record is published, DNS record is published. And let's have a query with the Spf record as well. So if I go and click on Spf record, and let's check with the Spf, you can see a green bar here with the Spf. If you don't have any idea of Spf, you can just do the same thing. You can just change your IP address here. Only you have to change the IP address. Once you configure your MX record, you have to change the IP address of your Exchange server or your router, and rest all the text will be the same, and you can just add a text record and put this value there. And let's have a dmarc lookup as well. and you can see the dmarc is also there. And if you want to generate a dmarc or SPF for your domain name, you can just search for like dmarc generator MX Toolbox on a Google, and you will see the second link for MX Toolbox. And let's click on this link, and you can just put your domain there and check for dmarc record. And here you can put the value here, and the dmarc will be fine there. Like you can see SPF Record Generator, you can just click on SPF Record Generator, and you can put your name, and according to your name you can put the host name like techicheck. In my case the techicheck.com, and the SPF record will be generated. You can use the MX lookup website to generate the dmarc and SPF record. Here you can see dmarc record generator, and you can just click on dmarc record generator, and you can fill the details according to your domain name, and then you can generate it for yourself. And at the bottom you will get the value like the text value, and now you can go to the DNS manager and you can add a new text record, and the host name will be this, and the value you have to put is this. So I hope you get the point. And now we are in the outside domain, like this computer is not joined with the domain. So let's try to open https mymail.techicheck.com/OWA, and let me open the mailbox for Techicheck, and let me try to send an email to this mailbox from my Gmail. So I have sent an email from my Gmail account to this account, and I have received the email. Like this is the second test mail. This was the second email from the Gmail account. So now we can receive the email from outsider domains, and also we can send email to outside domain. We can also send internal email to every user inside our organization. That means our Outlook web access is now set for sending and receiving emails. So now our MX record is configured successfully. So guys, if you face any problem while setting up your MX record or a DNS setting, you can just email me, and I hope I will reply on a time. And if you found this video informative, please do subscribe the channel for more upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.